Hey guys, this is Wendell Catlett, man. This is Leverage Your Life. All right. Welcome back. This is Leverage Your Life, the podcast telling you how to leverage your life and to level up in life by leveraging your life. Right now, I got my mentor. I got a guy that's really special for you guys today. This guy right here really helped me out a whole lot in life. If it wasn't for him, I definitely wouldn't be where I'm at right now. His name is Mr. Greg Bennett. Mr. Greg Bennett, can you give a shout out, say hello to everybody? How everything going?
How's everybody doing? It's definitely a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, let me tell you something really good about Mr. Bennett. So like I said, if it wasn't for Mr. Bennett, I wouldn't be here right now. Mr. Bennett, I talk to him all the time. You know, he's like really one of my most influential mentors in my life right now. Even to this day, I used to be under his brokerage, but I'm not anymore. But even to this day, I can't be where I'm at right now without him. So one of the things, I'm going to just give you a little history about Greg. Greg, I probably told you before, but I'm going to say it again for all you guys here. Greg, one day, how I knew, first of all, when I joined his brokerage, Greg told me, he said, you remind me of me. He said, I think this is a place for you to be at. He told me that, and then, you know, I was kind of still, you know, I was pretty much like number one in my last brokerage. So I got there and I'm like, you know what? I'm still going to do my own thing. And then, so I said I'm going to schedule meetings all the time with Greg. Schedule meetings all the time with Greg. And, you know, just pick his brain. And then I just felt like I had a little arrogance. So I felt like I had it. And I didn't really talk to Greg that much because that's when I got it. So then one day, Greg called me in his office. And he said, Wendell, he said, wherever you want to be at, I've been there. He said, wherever you want to go at, I'm sure I've been there. And wherever you think I'm at right now, I'm probably past that. He said, so I'm going to give you everything that you need to know. He said, but I'm not going to do it for you. So I took heed to that, and I started to work hard. I'm like, you know what? You're going to give me this information, so I'm going to start consuming it, and I'm going to start working on it. I don't know if you remember you telling me that, Greg, but one other thing I want to mention, but like kind of really changed my life, is because I seen your work ethic, right? So right after that, you told me that, I came to your office again to schedule meetings. So I'm always, every month, scheduling a meeting with Greg, trying to pick information. I'm still doing that now. He don't know I steal his information all the time. So I schedule like once a month, you know, the schedule with him. So one time I got there, and you asked me, he said, Wendell, he said, how was business? I said, man, you know what, business not going that well right now because I took a couple of vacations. I said I went to like the DR and Puerto Rico back-to-back months. And it ain't really going right now. It ain't going well because I just vacationed. And you said step out the office, and you made me sit outside. I don't know if you remember. I remember, right? So you made me sit outside your office. I guess you was on the phone call, whatever it is. I'm sitting there like I got a lot of time. I got things I got to do. So I'm sitting there thinking like, man, I'm about to leave. So then you called me back in the office. You said that your business not doing well because you had a couple of vacations. He said. You remember the seminar that I did the other week? He said, I had to get there at 7. He said, I think it started at 8. I'm just throwing out time. He said, started at 8. I had to get there at 7. He said, it ended about 6 o'clock. I had to leave by 7. He said, I was the first I left. He said, so I got home. He said, the last to leave. He said, so then I got home, and I took me a little nap. He said, then I got back up about 9 o'clock. He said, then I started working on my business. And this is Saturday. He said, I started working on my business. I'm like, damn, really? He said, yeah, I started. He said, I was watching podcasts. I was watching webinars. I was watching seminars. He said, I ain't go to bed about 2 o'clock. Then he said, you remember last week I told you? So it was 2 weeks with the seminar. And then you said, remember last week? He said, I went on vacation. He said, I go on vacation from time to time. He said, but I told you when I was on the phone that I said that I think I can go away for like 3 days and my business will be all right. He said, the reason I'm telling you this is because I'm a super successful individual. I think he said multi-millionaire, whatever your success is. He said, I'm a super successful guy. He said, and I'm working hard. And he said, he said, I'm 50. I remember, you said I'm 54 years old and you 20 years younger than me. And you telling me that your business is not successful because you going on vacation. And he said, if you're not serious, Wendell, man, you know, I don't need you to be in the office. I'm gonna give you the same situation. I'm in the same information that I give everybody else, and just you know, just the basic information. But that moment right there, it kind of like changed my life, man.
But that you kind of make me feel bad.
Yeah.
Did I say all that?
Man, you said all of that, man.
I was hard, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
So a couple things. So number one, a lot of people come to me for advice.
Right.
And I give them the advice, and they never ever take heed.
Right.
So for you do make a lot of appointments with me, meetings even now. But one thing I can say for you is you take the advice and you take action.
Right.
And so that's the biggest thing. You know, in terms of vacation, nothing wrong with vacations.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that. We have to.
Right.
We get
Absolutely.
energized. I go out of town all the time. But you got to get to a place where you earn it. Like you got to earn that vacation. If you're not grinding and you going hard and making money and making passive income for yourself, you don't deserve that vacation. Like you got to deserve it.
Right.
And so I see a lot of people going out of town. I'm thinking of an agent now who's out of the country, and I think to myself, does that agent really deserve it?
Right.
Are they living paycheck to paycheck? Unfortunately, I've had situations. I've owned a brokerage for a long time where I've had to send agents money. Advances while they're on vacation.
Wow.
They didn't deserve that vacation.
Right.
Exactly. So nothing wrong with vacation. I don't want Wendell to make me make me look like
he's not a bad guy.
All you're supposed to do is work, and so that's not the case. But you do have to.
Right.
You've got to grind. You got to work hard. Work smart too, and then earn the vacation. Know that you're out of town. You've set up a business, like you've set your business up with your team, and you're still making money while you're out of town.
I remember one of the things you did say is that you said you can go away for 6 months and you be good because you've set it up that way. And ever since you did that, since you told me that's all I've been trying to do is work on my business. You actually gave me I remember. So I got an agent on my team that actually started the fire department with me, and I then used to read books. I used to say, man, books are for people to read. I said, I'm the author though, right? So I never really read books.
Right.
And you gave me the book, the E-Myth. You said that's the first. You said this is one of the books I got started. And the E-Myth really helped me out in understanding on that I need to build my business like a business,
right? As
opposed to work on my business instead of working
just
in my
your
business.
Right.
Exactly. So. That was really helpful, man. That's a little insight of me and Greg's relationship.
But one last thing on that is, you don't know this, but by reading that book and taking action and reading that book again and taking more action, you know more than someone who has an MBA in business.
Wow.
Like
really?
you have an MBA.
Right.
You just don't have the paper to show it.
Right.
And that's how I feel about that book. And somebody recommended that book to me.
Yeah. And
I read it from cover to cover probably 10 times over.
Yeah.
And I've taken action.
Right.
So you know more than an MBA knows.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. That was about 6 years ago. Probably about 5 years ago when you gave me that book, and to this day I literally got it. I'm studying it still. So I don't really read the whole book like I used to. Now just like, okay, this is the point in my career where I'm at, where I need to refocus.
Absolutely.
And then so. I just look through different phases. I look at it like I do any other research book now, because of that book. And that book was helpful, man. But the reason I was saying is because I wasn't even reading books, I read that book and then I read a lot of other books and people ask me like, one day how you start to level up in your career? And I'm like, man, it's just in the same book you supposed to read. Like, for example, the Gregory Keller book, the
Millionaire
Real Estate Age. I studied that book and started implementing that. I'm like, everybody should be reading these books, not just reading them, but implementing them, right?
So I feel the same way about myself. I do have a degree,
right.
But I feel like I have really more than a master's degree in business, primarily because of the reading.
Right,
I'm an avid reader. I've learned more, after college than in college, because of the reading.
Right.
But you can't just read. You got to take action.
That's
one thing I've kind of prided myself. And then also following people who've done it, who've come before you, having mentors to make it easier. We don't want to have to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
And so you've done a good job. I know I'm your mentor. I know you have a couple others.
Right.
And so you're one that you get the information and you take action.
Right.
And so you're the type of person that could pick anything in the world to do.
Right.
And you would be great at it.
Right.
Because you've got that mindset. Like,
Right.
I'm going to listen. I'm going to let it make sense. I remember when you first came to the brokerage, we used to have the meetings, our sales meetings on the second floor. You'd kind of sit in the back. And
you always call me up there, though, man. Yeah.
You wouldn't be taking notes,
Right,
but
right.
you'd be like this. You'd be like this.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'd go back home and do it.
Exactly.
Or you would come to my office and we'd meet for 30 minutes, an hour, and you'd be absorbing all the information. And then I see on social media or somewhere
Right.
that you've taken action.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I think and so when you talk about leveling up,
Mhm.
that's how you do it. Like, you
Right.
get the information and then you take action.
Right.
And so one of the problems with leveling up is people don't take action.
Right.
And in order to level up, you've got to like set high goals
Mm-hmm.
and then go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't set high goals and take action, you'll never ever know what your fullest potential will be.
Right.
And so you got to set that goal. And so when you're talking about leveling up and scaling,
Mhm.
that's really how you do it.
Yeah. How did you get started in the business? So what did you do? How did you get started in your success? It don't just have to be real estate, but whatever you do.
So the way I got started in real estate was I'm a military dependent, military
Mhm.
brat. We moved back here to the DMV from Japan. I was 17 years old. Summer before my senior year in high school, I read in an encyclopedia that of all the wealthy people, 95% of them gain their wealth through real estate.
Right.
And at 17 years old, that was a epiphany moment for me.
That's good.
And so it stayed with me. And so, long story short, graduated from high school, graduated from college, and I just started buying real estate after that.
Right.
You know, so I bought my first property in DC at 23 years old, set a
nice.
goal to buy one property a year,
Yeah.
and I did that. And all in DC. No kind of mentorship,
Right.
no coaching. I was just buying real estate. Back then, it was just a lot easier getting investment loans. And I had a good job. My degree's in computer science, so
Okay.
and I always had a little side hustle, and so I was always making money.
Right,
And so
right.
that's how I got started. And then, kind of by virtue of my father being in the military, I grew up watching that work ethic,
Okay.
and so that's kind of where I got my work ethic from. And then just kind of, and these are all cliches, but
Right,
then
right.
kind of being around the right people
Mm-hmm.
and just always going for it. If I'm the type of person like you.
Mm-hmm.
If I see someone being successful, I say, if they can do it, I can do it. I know you look at me and like, if Greg can do it, I can do it.
I'm telling you, man. I don't know how many times I went home when I came to your office when I first started at your brokerage, and I came to your office and I went home. I literally had your business card on my desk, right? And I don't know if you told you that, but my dresser in my house, in my bedroom, and I had your business card there, and I had a lady that lived with me at the time. She said, "Wait till I meet Mr. Bennett." She said, "I'm gonna tell him that I gotta wake up every morning and see this business card," because I thought about it. I'm like, man, this guy's a guy graduated from Blue High School, so I'm like, this guy's a regular guy, but I said it doesn't make no difference. He's no different than what I am. I said,
Right.
if he's doing it, I mean, I can do it, and I still think that way. It's not just with you,
So
but
that's
so many
that's
other
this-
people, right?
So I think because of that, I later got into real estate. I was working with real estate agents on the investing side. They're moving too slow for me. So I got my real estate license, and it just kind of really opened up kind of a whole new world for me.
Mm-hmm.
I quit my job, did real estate full time, selling real estate as an agent, investing in real estate, did very, very well as an agent.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw all these different models. I
Right.
saw Long and Foster's model, Weichert's model, and a few others where they had the brokerage,
Right.
they had title, they had mortgage, they had insurance.
Right.
So I said, one day I'm going to do that.
Right,
If they can do it,
Yeah.
I can do it too.
Right.
So kind of fast forward to now, and so what I'm doing now, I'm still heavy into the real estate investing, but we've got the brokerage,
Mm-hmm.
and then and so in the last couple of years we've started mortgage, title, and insurance,
Right.
and it was only because of what I saw,
Mm-hmm.
and those were models. I never ever want to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
I want to go with a proven formula. I just had to figure it out for myself.
Right.
And I said, if those guys can do it and they're very successful, Wes Foster sold his brokerage for $500,000.
Okay.
I don't know, 5 years ago.
And that's Long and Foster?
Long and Foster.
Yeah.
He sold his brokerage for $500,000.
Okay.
He had the brokerage, mortgage, title, insurance. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do the same thing. I just gotta figure it out.
Right.
That's the model.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna figure it out. And I've figured it out. We and so now every day we try to improve.
Right.
But that's kind of where I am now. All along with my heart and soul is with the real estate investing.
Right.
But so that's just kind of where I am now. But I see those models, and I think when you talk about leveling up, it's a lot easier going down a path that someone else has already gone down. Absolutely. And when you see a number of people going down that path, and nothing wrong with kind of trying to do something different, but if you see a path and you like everything that they're doing, then you go down the same path and you emulate what they've done.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that.
You mentioned it. I got another question to ask you, but just thinking about emulating. So I just got a new phone. I had my phone, old phone. Well, it was an iPhone, but I had it for about 4 years now. And, it broke down. And so I got the new one, the newest iPhone that came out, and it got all of these gadgets on it. But when they promote on the commercial, they really don't promote all of the things it could do. But when I looked at a commercial the other day, Google got a new phone out. And it's had the exact same thing that the iPhone does. So it lets me know even the successful people mimic each other. They
absolutely.
And they continuously do that. So I think that's the only way. Well, not the only way, but why reinvent the wheel? You can, if it's already the path already laid out.
When you're leveling yourself, you want to make sure that it's the easiest path.
Right.
Why make things difficult?
Right. Yeah. So I hear you talking about your brokerage and all the things that you got. So I'm a life insurance agent, and that's a lot had to do with because of you. But can you explain why it's important to have life insurance? Because a lot of people don't know. A lot of people, especially in our community, don't understand what's the reason for life insurance and think that it's all about dying and pay for it.
Right. So it's really two reasons, and so we say life insurance. But for me, it's wealth insurance. And so it's the best way, one of the best ways to build wealth for yourself. So there's lots of policies that will allow you to build wealth. For example, and you're familiar with IULs, Index Universal Life Policies. I got a policy for my daughter who's now 24. I got a policy for her when she was 13 years old. That I've been paying on since she was 13.
Right.
In a couple more years, I'll hand it off to her so she can pay. But what's great about her policy is she's building up cash value in the policy. So when I make that payment, part of that payment is going towards her death benefit. The other part is going through cash value. Right. That's compounding inside of a life insurance policy where she can borrow against that money tax-free. So she can pull out. So she bought a property last year that she lives in now. This year, before the end of this year, the goal is to pull that money out. She's got probably about $40,000 cash value that she can pull out to put a down payment closing costs on an investment property. Right. And then she buys the investment property, rents it out, refinances, and puts that money right back in, and it's all tax-free. Interest-free, tax-free. And so that's one of the reasons why. And there's other types of policies that can help you build wealth. There's $1 million baby policies, $1 million millennial policies that kind of similar to what I was able to get for my daughter. And so that's the first thing. You're able to build wealth tax-free inside of an insurance. And then we see a lot of GoFundMe pages. Right. And so, one of the myths for insurance is that it's expensive. It's not. I mean, there's policies that you can pay $25 a month. We just found a policy for people who are 70 to 85 years old that's a final expense policy that's free. But it's a policy so that when they pass away, there's money to bury them. And so their loved ones, they don't have to set up GoFundMe pages. And then it's just a responsibility that we need to have, especially in our an African American community. One last thing on that.
Yeah.
And so in other communities like the Jewish community, when one passes away, 2 millionaires are created.
Right.
Because they understand the power of life insurance.
Absolutely.
When one passes away in the African American community, all the wealth passes with them.
Right.
And then the loved ones have to sell the house, or they don't have money to bury them. So that's the importance. Number one is to build wealth. You know, what we call living benefits. And then with all of our policies that we sell come with living benefits, because we get sick before we die. And so if you have a chronic a terminal illness, that policy will pay for those things.
Right.
While you're living, so you can use these policies for the cash value, for the chronic illness, critical illness, and terminal illness while you're still living.
I know it since a minute, you know, and I study it, but I'm gonna be honest with you, a lot of people just don't know that. And like you said, I like the most important, not the most important, but when 1 millionaire died, 2 was created. Most people don't understand that. And then the second part of what you said about that is people, when most of the people in our community die, they got to start all the way back over. Kids got to start all the way back over.
And so that's why there's that wealth gap.
Right.
So you always hear about the wealth gap between African Americans and, you know, other communities. That's part of the reason is because we're not preserving our wealth.
Right.
And we're not passing on our wealth.
Right.
And that's what those policies are for.
And then a lot of people. So I'm gonna tell you, some people are scared to put life insurance policies on their kids because they think that they wishing death on them, right? But I try to explain to people that you're actually not wishing death on them, you know, because these are living policies.
Right.
And I mean, it is what it is. Kids are kids. They're still human. Something may happen, but we're not looking at that. We're looking at the way to help level up wealth, like you said for your daughter. You've been doing it for 13. Now she's buying houses. She's buying houses with that stuff. And for me myself, I put them on my daughter now. You know, so my daughter got policies. And I think our community really need to know that, man.
Absolutely.
So it's important. So then also, since you mentioned that part, your daughter buying multiple properties with those policies. So you big on real estate investing, right?
Absolutely.
And that's another way, or probably the primary way to build wealth. That's going to be, not going to say primary way, but it's going to be consistent forever. Can you touch a little bit on that?
So I believe that we need a retirement mix. And so we always, no matter how old we are, we need to have an eye on retirement. Because even myself, I love what I do, I enjoy it, but I don't want to have to do it forever.
Right.
And so at a very young age, probably when I was your age, I started thinking about retirement and what I wanted retirement to look like. And so I think that what we just talked about, the insurance, and the wealth building through insurance policies is one avenue that's going to help us in retirement. But I think real estate investing is like the best way.
Right. Okay.
And so what comes with real estate investing is 2 things. Number one, you're getting, when you're buying and holding properties, you're getting that monthly money. And so if you're collecting, let's say $2,500 a month, eventually you want to, my advice would be to eventually pay them off. And so you pay it off. That's $2,500 on that one property.
Right.
If you multiply that by 10 properties, that's $25,000 you have in retirement. Now there's some expenses, $25,000 a month in retirement.
Right.
There's expenses that come with that. And then, but the biggest value of investing is, let's say that one property that you're getting $2,500 a month in positive cash flow, that property is appreciating every year in value. Right. And so, you know, we set goals on investing. So for my investment goal is to have $100,000 a month in positive cash flow just from my investment properties.
Right.
And to have over $10 million in equity from the properties.
Wow.
The tenants are actually paying for that. I'm maintaining, you know, I've got a property manager. My goal is just to put myself in a position to be able to acquire these properties. Right. And then I'm just going to let the economy or appreciation take care of that $10 million. And then choosing the right tenants, I generally choose voucher holders like
Right.
Section 8
Right.
to let the city or the county pay.
Consistent payment.
Consistent every month.
Right.
And so they eventually pay it off. And so
Right.
I've got tenants that's been in my properties 10 years, 15 years.
Wow.
I've got a property in Annapolis that they've been there at least 10 years, and it was almost paid off. I was able to refinance, pull some cash out. When you pull that cash out, it's tax free, and then use that money to buy another investment property. So you can kind of play that game.
Right.
But that's the importance of real estate investing.
Absolutely. So are you able to not just pull out money from the house? You can just leverage what you have and get maybe like private lending or something like that.
You can do that too.
Yeah,
you can do that too.
So it's other avenues. So I was just saying it because I know that just with those properties, your net worth, you can just leverage your net worth. You can pull out money. You got cash. You making every month. You got cash in the property itself.
Right.
So it's so many different avenues.
Absolutely.
And that's how people really like grow their network with properties. I think about any type of successful person, they own properties.
Absolutely.
They might even own. It might not even be residential. They own commercial properties or whatever it is. Right.
If you think of a successful person, they own real estate. I was talking before I came here this morning. I was talking to a doctor that buying his house. He's from India.
Right. Okay.
And so buying his house, so he's got that rental property. He says that all his siblings are all doctors.
Oh wow.
And they all own real estate.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's exactly what you said. That's what really got me into it too, man. I understand that. But last thing though, Greg, I don't want to hold you long. I like to keep it less than 30 minutes or less. Just because, I want people to be able to watch it real quick and not get bored, or they can listen to it on the on the podcast while they drive. It's like drive time, 30 minutes. So, Greg Bennett again, my mentor, man. I know you guys gonna really be soaking this up and want to have more questions. Ask me first. However, if you really want to get like the same knowledge that I got, man, directly from Mr. Bennett himself, man, can you tell them how they can reach out to you or what?
So, like Wendell said, ask him first. But so I'm on Instagram, Greg Bennett Invest, Facebook, the Bennett Team. So you can go to Facebook and put in the Bennett Team. Those are the two best ways to get a hold of me.
Okay. I was gonna say your broker's name and all that stuff, but you don't need it. Just go to the Bennett Team. The Bennett Team, and say it one more time. The Bennett Team, and on Instagram, I'm Greg Bennett Invest. Greg Bennett. So you can DM me on those. Like Wendell said, get a hold of him. Yep. And if he can't help you, I'm happy to help you. Absolutely. So here's how I feel. Yeah. And so the more I'm able to help others and bless others, that's the only way I'm going to get my blessing. I agree, man. And before I wrap it up, man, I'm glad you said that, because I say this all the time. And the people that I bring on here, and they're all successful in their own respective area, but everyone says the same thing. Like, they trying to help others, and they know you will get received. Nobody came on here yet have said had a selfish approach. Everybody like, I'm trying to help others. I'm trying to help others, and trying to help my community. And I think we are put on this earth to serve. And by serving, we reap the benefits from that. Absolutely. Yeah, man. Absolutely. So. But like I said, I'm not going to hold you guys too long. I'm not going to hold Mr. Bennett. He's super busy too long, man. I really appreciate you coming out, Greg. My pleasure. Anytime I can give, anytime I can kick it with you, I'm good. That's how I feel, man. But thanks, man. Thank you, Greg. Okay. All right, guys. See you guys in the next episode. Thanks a lot.